about types of questions. We're going to make two here for just a second. A question that we could ask in this room where we would all answer the same, and a second question that we could ask in this room where we might all say something different. Okay, so let's think for a second. What might be a question we could ask in this room that we would all answer the same? That's interesting. What school do you attend? Yep, that's a good one. Okay. Y'all all attend Gallatin High School. Okay. That for sure would be a question where we would all have the same answer. Okay. Anything else? Yep. What grade are you in? We're all seniors. What state do you live in? What country? Right? So you're getting the feel for what we're doing. Okay. All right, so now let's switch and let's think about a question that where we wouldn't all answer the same. Some of us might, but not all of us. Your favorite food? Okay. Age? What about number of siblings? Yeah. So we've asked a lot of questions. So today we're going to talk about what's referred to as a statistical question and a non-statistical question. All right. So let's jump over and let's look at what our learning targets are for today. So there were two different types of questions that we asked right there. Okay, so we're going to talk about statistical questions from other types. What's the difference between a population and a sample in a statistical study? And then how do I tell the difference between what's known as an observational study and an experiment? So we're just kind of classifying things today. Okay. So I want you to flip through over here to your notes so you come to this set of questions. Okay. So it may be on the next to last page or the last page. I can't remember. Yeah. All right. So it's just some questions. All right. And these questions can be sorted into two different groups. Okay. So I want you to take a look at some of these questions and let's see if we can figure out how I could group them together. Okay. So it says, here's our first one. Which musical artist or group has the most downloads on iTunes? How many siblings do the students in the class have? Who won the 2020 NBA championship? How old are your parents? How many points did the team score on Friday? Where are students in this class going to college next year? What are the heights of the teachers at this school? How many hours do seniors work each week? How old is the school building? How many snow days did we have last year? How many students in the class ate breakfast this morning? And how long do you wait in line for lunch each day? Okay. Do you see any questions that you think you could group together? Yes.
Which musical artist did not win with the who won the NBA championship?
All right.
With how many points did the team score on Friday?
Okay.
We could do what about the heights of the teachers, but I feel like that varies between the teachers.
Okay. So why did you put those three together?
They all have one factual answer.
They have one factual answer. I agree. Okay. They have one factual answer. There's no room for discussion. Only one person won the 2020 NBA championship. Okay. So one factual answer. Are there any like that in the second column? Okay. Which ones do you think it might be in the second column?
The age of the school building.
Age of the school building.
The snow days of last year.
And the snow days. Okay. Yep. Right. And the snow days. They have one factual answer. That's referred to as a non-statistical question. It has one answer. All right, one factual answer. So now let's look at the others and let's see how they're similar. Okay, so they should be all related. Number of siblings, age of our parents, where we're going to college, heights of the students, hours we work, how many people ate breakfast, how long we wait in lunch. What's true about all those questions?
They all very
They have variable answers or multiple answers. Okay, so all of those that are left all have multiple answers to that question. That is referred to as a statistical question. Okay, there are multiple answers that could be given. Right? Okay. So just looking at the two different types of questions that are available. Okay, so flip back to that front page of your notes where it says, what is a statistical question? And we're just going to put something right here. Okay, a statistical question answers vary. A non-statistical question there is one factual answer. Okay. So thinking back to what we did in the warm-up, okay, our statistical questions were the ones where our answers would vary, right? How old are we? Our favorite foods, things we already mentioned. Average length of a shower. Any of y'all long shower people? Depends how much water's available and who's been in ahead of you, right? All right, average. I always like to be the first one. I use all the hot water. Okay? Or I like to be like the only shower of that day. You know, so like my husband's an evening shower, as is Rebecca. I'm a morning shower person, so it's nice for me. I get up early just so I can stand in the hot water longer. Okay, non-statistical questions, they have one factual answer, okay, which we said earlier, what school do we attend? How old's Miss Moore? Too old. What time is the game tonight? Okay, so things that have one factual answer are non-statistical. Okay, so that's all learning target 1. If I give you a question, can you figure out, is it statistical or non-statistical? Does it have multiple answers or one factual answer? That's all you got to do for that first learning target. Okay. Oh, that's okay. All right, so let's talk about those next two. All right, the next two learning targets that we have talk about who or and how we collect data. And everything in chapter 4 that we're going to do, we only do the first 3 sections, are about how and who we collect data from. Okay, because when we collect data, we want it to be organized appropriately so that we don't mess with it. Okay, so let's go to this, the quick notes. I'm not going to rewrite that learning target 1 because that was that whole, what we just wrote down. Okay, But learning target 2 talks about the population, that's who we're asking the question to, and the sample. Okay? Population and sample. The population is the entire group. Okay? And so if we think an example, we could say senior class. Right? A sample is a portion of that group. So a sample might be Miss Moore's third block. Okay, you're all seniors, but the population is all seniors, but I'm only going to ask questions to my third block. Okay, so just a portion of that group. That's the difference between a population and a sample. I ran over to the clinic to pick up some medicine that I take on a regular basis. And I walked in and I was like, I've been coughing for 9 days. I'm not dead, so I don't think I'm gonna to, but like, you got any appointments today? Because I think I might need some extra medicine. She goes, yeah, I can see you right now. Walked out of there with a shot in the butt and an antibiotic. So be careful what you ask for. A shot in the butt. No, I'll take it. If it made me feel better, I'll take it. Okay? All right, and then our last learning target, all right, is to talk about the difference between 2 types of ways that we collect data. Okay? The first one is called an observational, so big word, study. Okay? And the second one is called an experiment. Now, let's just use some deductive reasoning, context clues. Observational study. What do you think observational means? We're just observing. We're watching. Okay? And so I like to refer to that as something that we are watching. Okay? We don't interfere. Right, in any way. Okay, we just kind of watch what happens. All right, and we don't interfere. Did y'all have a good time? Good. Okay. Observational study is exactly what it says. We're watching something. Have y'all ever seen that movie Daddy Daycare? Okay, you know when they got the broccoli and the carrot cereal, the Veggie-O's, and they have the focus group, and they're standing behind the two-way mirror, and then all hell breaks loose, you know, in there with the kids and the Veggie-O's. That's an observational study, right? They're watching how the kids react to eating the cereal, the vegetable cereal, and how the mascots interact, right? So that's an observational study. What they say in statistics is that there is no treatment imposed, okay? And that's kind of a weird way to say we don't mess with the data, we just watch, okay? No treatment imposed. And so that's one of your pull-down menus things today. It'll say it's an observational study. Why? No treatment was imposed. Okay, so that's what you'll pick is the no treatment. Those are the words that it uses. Okay? An experiment, all right, we're going to actually set some things up. So we're going to fiddle with what we want them to do a little bit. Okay? So in an experiment, we get involved. And by getting involved, we do things like separate into groups. All right? We choose the groups. Right? And so they would say that a treatment is imposed. All right? We get involved. heard about in medical studies, some people get a placebo, some people get the actual medicine, and then they record health things, okay, and they split them into groups. Sometimes they're blind groups, but they split them into groups. That's a treatment, right? We decided some were getting the real meds, some were not. Okay, so we made a decision that would impact the study, all right? We imposed a treatment. So let's just look at a couple of examples, all right? Classifying and just kind of labeling these things, all right? We're going to look at a statistical question, non-statistical. What's the population? What's the sample? Can I pick out an observational study? Can I pick out an experiment? All right? Really, we're just labeling those 6 terms today based on examples. All right? So look at this one. So researchers at Columbia University randomly selected 1,000 teenagers in the U.S. for a survey. According to an ABC News article about the research, teenagers who eat with their families at least 5 times a week are more likely to get better grades in school. Okay? So what's the question that they're trying to answer? All right, in this study, what are they trying to figure out?
Does eating with your family have a relationship to your grades?
Yes, okay. Does eating with your family at least 5 times a week. I can't even spell today. Result in better grades. Hey, shh. Okay, so that's the question we're trying to answer, right? Is that a statistical or a non-statistical question? It's statistical, right? Because we're going to have various answers, right? Just because, sometimes it's not good for families to be together because what happens? Drama, right? Explodes, right? So depending on your family dynamic, eating with them 5 times a week may or may not be helpful, all right? So it just depends, right, on the situation. So things are going to vary, all right? Let's talk about the population and the sample, okay? Who is the study trying to get information about overall, generalized for everybody? Teenagers, okay? The population are all teenagers. Okay? The sample is who we actually talked to, all right, or selected. So who was my sample? The 1,000 kids in the U.S., okay? Okay. And then the second question, or the last one, is this an observational study or an experiment? So let's think about it. Observational, we watch what happens. Experiment, we divide them into certain groups. We give them certain things. What did I do? It's just observational. We just want to know. Yeah, we didn't split them into groups. We didn't give them something, right? We just start looking at what happens. So this would be an observational study. Okay? What do you think? That's what this is about, right? That's what this is about. Let's look at these last couple things. We're going to be done. Okay? Now, the statistical problem-solving process, we've talked about this before when we did some stuff where basically we're asking questions, we're collecting our data, we analyze our data, and we interpret our results. Right? So Unit 4 is all about how we do those things. How we ask questions and what kind of questions. How we collect our data. How do we analyze our data? And then how do we interpret what happens? Okay? We'll spend most of our time in those top 3. Okay? Asking the questions, collecting it, and then analyzing it. Right? Okay. So let's look at some questions and let's see if we can figure out if they're statistical or non-statistical, S or NS. All right, that's all we're looking at. Okay. So let's look at the first one. How much money does Mr. whoever that guy is have in his wallet right now? Statistical or not statistical? Not. No, he's just got a certain amount. That's not going to vary at this moment right now. How long can the students at your school hold their breath? That's statistical. Okay, because that's going to vary. What proportion of U.S. adults engage in exercise at least once a week? That's statistical. It's going to vary. Okay, so if the answers vary, it's statistical. Okay, let's talk about populations and samples. Right? The student government in a high school surveys 100 students at the school to get their opinions upon a change to the bell schedule. Who's the population? The students, all students. Okay. Who's the sample? The 100 ones we talked to. Okay. The next one, the quality control manager selects 10 cans from production line every hour to see if the soda is within an acceptable limit. Okay, population is all soda cans. The sample, the 10. Okay, so the sample's probably easier to do than the population. It's always that smaller group that we have. Okay, get you some lunch, then we'll practice when we get back.